I'm so tired. You know, I was actually going to try to make like a really great intro, but I feel like that yawn encompasses like everything right now. So we're going to keep it. Welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. Hi, if you're new, what's up? My name is Jamilah. Welcome to my podcast. If you're watching the video of this, I probably look absolutely insane, but that's because I am not. Why is she calling me right now? No, can't do it. That's so bad, but sometimes if I'm in the middle of something, I love everyone, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to answer your call. That probably just is like the worst first impression of me, and you know, I can't help it as far as like first impressions go. But as I was saying, if I look insane, it's because I'm not wearing my glasses, because the last podcast episode I did, the glare was just super bad on my glasses and it was stressing me out. So I don't know if anyone else cared to notice, but I also don't know what I look like now. So we're doing great. Honestly, you know what? We're doing fantastic. We are not dying because of the pollen outside, and we definitely do not need to curl the ends of our bob weave that we have going, and we are definitely not extremely exhausted, and we definitely do not have like feet that hurt. Like, no, we're doing fantastic. Like, I'm so well right now. I feel like if I keep lying to myself, it'll get better. I have like the strongest headache, and it's not because I'm not wearing my glasses. It started somewhere in the midst of me working with the younger kids at my second job. But again, you didn't ask. I asked how you were doing. Now, granted, you can't respond. And if Clover did respond on your behalf, I'd be freaked out, because that means my dog can talk. I wouldn't like that for anybody. Normally at this point in an episode, I would share some weekly wins. And I don't know what it says about me or the earth at this point, the world, that I cannot find anything. So if you have good news, I would love to hear it, because I currently don't have anything besides the fact that Delta is treating Congress members as regular citizens when they fly, because we can't get anything to pass. We can't get this shut down. That's not grammatically correct, but you know what I mean. The entire DHS system is currently like just super effed up, to be completely honest. And I'm proud of Delta for stepping up and treating, you know, Congress members like regular citizens and not getting them that extra treatment, because baby, they don't deserve it. And I know that might sound like negative news, but no, it's good news. It's a form of protest. So thank you, Delta. But besides that, that's the only like news that I've seen that's been like applause worthy. And I actually hate it. Like, honestly, I wish that we just had more good news and more good things and more positivity. Like, in my current like day-to-day life, great news. You know what? Let me share that. I got permission to kind of work somewhere else in the school building for the rest of the semester. Just because I actually, believe it or not, it might sound like I don't, but I do work a little hard. And I try to help people to the best of my ability, and I am able to move somewhere where I can keep doing that without, you know, whatever the heck is happening in my current position. But that is really good news, because I'm happy that I can keep doing that and keep showing up for people the way that they need someone to show up for them, and the way that they have shown up for me. And it's really cool, because I also now get to like help out with like communicating things to parents a little bit more and helping them understand. So overall, I count that as like a personal weekly win. I'm very, very happy about that, and happy that I have that opportunity and I got that permission. That is kind of the weight off my shoulders that I really needed, because I did not know how I was going to survive the next 2 months. So very happy about that. Because there isn't an extreme amount of good news or weekly wins, we're going to get into what this episode is all about. And I'm so excited. I genuinely, shout out to my friend whose name starts with a D. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't think I've ever really said her name on here, and I don't know if I'm ready to say it yet, to be honest. And that might sound absolutely insane, because we've been friends for a couple years now, and no length of time determines like how quickly someone becomes your best friend. So in my opinion, we are best friends. I mean, we've done a lot together over the past couple of years. She's one of my favorite humans that I've met since I've moved to this particular area in North Carolina. But shout out to my friend whose name starts with a D. I'm just going to say D. Shout out to her, D, because she was talking about doing some sort of like Q1. I don't know if it was a Q1 recap or a Q1 reset. It was a something. And I just kept thinking about like Q1, like the first quarter of the year. Like, wait, hey, why don't I do like a Q1 book wrap up? That would be so fun, at least for the nerd in me. I don't know. So between her saying that and then me thinking about the books that I've like read so far this year and how I'm having just a way better start to the year as far as reading goes, I was like, no, I'm actually very, very excited about this. So I'm going to nerd out about some books, and it's up to you whether you decide to keep watching and or listening, depending on what platform you are listening to this podcast on. The first book, I don't even have a physical copy of. A teacher let me borrow it because she is using it for like her curriculum that she teaches for one of her English classes. And it is The Princess Bride by, I don't remember his name. And I really wanted to read it because I'd always heard about the movie and how like the movie was like a classic and everything. And I was like, I need to read the book before I read the movie. And just the opportunity arose and she let me borrow the book. Very, very grateful for the fact that she let me borrow the book. And it's not that I disliked it at all. There was just moments where I was like, wait, this is super freaking long. And there was moments where it got confusing because I didn't know if it was like there's a whole thing in the beginning about like the author cheating on like, or thinking about cheating on his wife, and then he like goes back to his wife that he almost cheated on, and he's like kind of unhappy in their marriage, and he's like trying to get his son to like obsess over this book called The Princess Bride the way that he was obsessed over it. And that whole part really confused the crap out of me. It took me a minute to even get past that to the actual Princess Bride story. And then we get there and I was like, what is happening right now? It was really like, I think overall it was like good enough. I can see why people like it. And I haven't watched the movie yet. I should definitely watch the movie because it's been a couple months since I read the book. I think maybe visually seeing it will help me like it even more. Again, I don't think it's bad or anything. I gave it very much so like an average rating. That's actually why I have my phone so I can tell you the rating I gave it. But I forgot to turn my phone on D&D so people could not call me. So my bad. Okay, yeah. So I gave it a very average rating. I gave it 3.25 out of 5 stars. If you want to follow me on Storygraph, you can. I know there's so many apps now that people use to track their reading. I know a lot of people are trying to veer away from Goodreads, which personally I have political reasons for veering away from Goodreads. But if you just, are tired of the interface, because apparently the interface is really bad, then I, encourage you to veer out and try different things. Me personally, I love Storygraph just because it is like created and owned by a Black woman, and I am a Black woman, and therefore we must support each other. I don't know. But I saw this thing on Instagram. It was a particular post that like showed the pros and cons of all these different like book tracking apps, and I didn't think about it until she said it, how Storygraph is very much so like it's way more analytical than the other ones and like less social. So it's about like truly personally tracking what you're reading, whereas like from my understanding Fable is very much so social, especially because you can have like book clubs and things on there. And I really hope Storygraph does not try to like conform to match what Fable has become, and like vice versa, because I love how analytical Storygraph is. It just breaks everything down so well, and it's so sad that a book tracking app is fun to me, but like it genuinely is so fun to me. I'm assuming the book was broken up into parts instead of chapters, but the way that he explained it is that like some of the chapters, like they were called chapters, but then some of them felt like they should have been called like parts. Like I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 that was so freaking long. I literally was like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? And maybe it was 5. I can't remember. It was either 3, 4, or 5 that was super long. And then one of the chapters was just like a page. And I was like, so we went from writing a book within a book within a book to a singular page for a chapter. Heard. As a palate cleanser and a bit of nostalgia. Don't ask me. I think I was super nostalgic. And I think I've talked about this before too. Where, because at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were like, take me back to 2016, da da da. And I was like, I think I put this on Instagram now that I think about it. I'm so good at interrupting myself. Have you figured that out? But I put on Instagram how like everyone, was showing like their 2016 and their positivity things and all that jazz and how it's such a great year. And like, happy for you, glad. Me personally, it wasn't. However, what got me through 2016 was Wattpad. And so during that time period earlier in the year when everyone was like nostalgic, I started reading Chasing Red by Isabel Ronan. This is a Wattpad book, and I did not realize in the published version, because I'd never read the published version, I didn't realize that she had broken up the story. And so even though this is a very cliche, very cringy, very, very much so did start on Wattpad book, I definitely want to get Always Read and read the second part because know why I liked it on Wattpad. It's an easy happily ever after romance, and Caleb, our lead, is just, you can't help but like fall in love with how much he wants to protect Red, or her name's Veronica, but you can't help but absolutely just kind of like root for him and hope that, you know, she breaks her walls down a little bit and then it just like all works out. Like really, reading this in high school and even reading it like as a almost 27-year-old, I just wanted everything to work out for them and I couldn't help but root for them. And now I have to get Always Read. Yeah. And the crazy thing is I don't even remember. I don't know. I think I know how it goes, but I can't remember if I know how it goes. But genuinely, it's not that I like recommend this heavily. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars on Storygraph, and it's just because it is super cringy and everything, but it's an easy read. And if you just like crave that Wattpad nostalgia written well enough in a published book, this is it. Because there's another book that I've read quite a few books on Wattpad when I was in high school. I don't have the app anymore or anything. And then I read their published versions, and the published versions somehow were like lacking. I don't even know how. Like when I was reading them on my phone, I like felt things and I was like, ooh, yes. Like, and maybe it was like the anticipation of the author like uploading something at some point in the day that got me really excited. I don't know. But what I do know is that I didn't feel anything in the published version. However, I still felt something reading this. So thank you, Chasing Red. The next book I completed this year was The Age of Magical Overthinking, Notes on Modern Irrationality by Amanda Montell. And this book did not go the way that I thought it was going to. Also, it's less than 300 pages. And it is like written in a way that completely encapsulates you. Is that the right word? I don't know. It sounded really smart though. But it really... I don't know why. I absolutely loved it. Very much so a kind of psychology-esque book. But what I think I loved about it is like you think that this book is about overthinking, but it's more about things that people overthink about. And I think that is so well written. The title is amazing for that. And then I think beyond that, there's the titles of the chapters are awesome. Like, make it make sense. I swear I manifested this. A toxic relationship is just a cult of one. That chapter is really good, okay? A toxic relationship is just a cult of one. That was probably one of my favorite chapters, and I don't even know how to explain why. But, like, I do not explain why. Because when she talked about how, like, love bombing is present when they're trying to get you to join a cult, and then the same thing when they're trying to get you to, like, be a part of a toxic relationship, I said, whoa, she's so right. Wait a minute. It's so good. And then with each, like, title of the chapter, there is a little like subtitle. So like make it make sense. The subtitle is An Intro into Magical Overthinking. And then there's like I swear I manifested this. It's about like proportionality bias. I highlighted a lot in this book. I'm not big on like tabbing books. It like icks the right part of my brain. But if you love tabbing your books, then you go for it, girl. However, this is a really, really great book. It's a book that honestly I could see myself, even though it is a literal like nonfiction psychology book, I could see myself reading this again in the future. And I for sure know that I will be referencing it a lot. And if I could recommend it to anyone, I have so many friends who were psychology majors in college. I recommend this to them. Even though they may or may not be working in their field, it just kind of takes you, well, actually, I don't know. I'm not a psychology major. I can't say it takes you back, but maybe it just gets you back thinking again. I don't know. I just know it was a really, really great book, and I'm so happy I got it. I have yet to see it in softcover, so not really happy about the price I paid for because it is hardcover, but actually at the end of the day, I just genuinely think it was worth it because Amanda Montell is amazing. And I almost want to read Cultish, which is a book she wrote before this one. I just haven't quite decided if I really, really, really want to yet. But this, I know I liked. Literally, this was my first 5-star read of the year, and I shared that on Instagram. I ate this book right up. Then we get into the book that I think really started the get me the heck out of here energy that I have with my job. And there's obviously a story to it, but I'm not going to get into it at the moment, even though I feel like I've kind of alluded to it, or maybe I even just have straight up said it in the past. Because at this point, we just, like, the care, gone. She's gone. However, if I haven't really, like, dove into the story, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to kill the vibe of this. But this book somehow managed to be the start of, like, the explosion. So, in that book, ready? The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen. It has nothing to do with the actual book. I just want to say that. But I do want to say I read it. And it was kind of an easy read. There was a lot going on in the end, though. Like, as I was getting towards the end, I was like, okay, there's a lot that's not been said and a lot of loose ends that need to be tied. And it almost felt like they were, like, rushed together to be tied. Like, the ending was rushed. And I was like, okay, I don't really know if I vibe with this. And I don't know what this is. I need to check my story graph, actually, and see if it's a romance, because there is no way this is a romance. Like, there is a romantic element to it, I think, as a subplot, but I think more than anything, it is a coming of age story. What's her name? Emma Saylor. And it's so crazy because they call her, so she, like, has been known as Emma, but once upon a time when she used to visit her mom's family, they called her Saylor. And I think she was like 3 or 4. She was super tiny, and that was the last time that she had visited her mom's family. Well, then her dad, he gets remarried and has to go on his honeymoon. He doesn't have to. He chooses to go on his honeymoon, and there's nowhere for Sailor to go, even though she's like 16 and apparently can't stay, I don't know, not home alone necessarily, but what was it? It was something where, like, she's supposed to stay with not her grandma, because her grandma's house was being renovated, which was another thing. And then her dad's house that they bought was also being renovated. And then she was supposed to stay with her friend. But then something happened where, like, her friend's grandpa, uncle, somebody had, like, a stroke and they had to, like, leave town. So they had nowhere to put Sailor, basically, which I was like, okay, it's kind of a crazy concept. So Sailor ends up going to be with her grandmother, and, like, her grandmother on her mom's side. And her mom is, like, dead at this point. And her mom, I think, had either an alcohol and or drug addiction. It was one of them. It was one of them that she had. And I believe that's how she died. She OD'd. So Emma / Sailor is going to go visit her mom's family for the first time since she was 4. And they're, like, calling her Sailor and, like, swearing up and down, like, you've been here before, and, like, you don't remember us calling you Sailor? Baby, if I was a toddler, no, I don't remember you calling me Sailor. What? That part kept frustrating me, that they were, like, bringing up things from when she was basically a toddler, and they were like, you don't remember? How could I? Tell me, like, how could I? Because there's no way. That part kept annoying me. And, like, the guy that she, like, it's not like she even falls in love with him, but just, like, the guy that she ends up kind of going after, I guess, his name's Rue. I guess he was in a picture with her, and that really, like, gave her the ammo she needed to, like, I don't know, start liking him. It was just, sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It was just kind of insane. It was an interestingly written book, I will say. It wasn't horrible at all. I've read worse romances for sure. I'm looking at you, Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. Legitimately, I'm looking at you. You're over there, and I'm very excited. I know it's over there, too, even though I don't have my glasses on, but I just see that orange strip, and I want to burn that book. I want to burn it. So, I mean, and this kind of captured there was moments of it that really captured my attention. I think Sarah Dessen did a really good job of describing the setting and just kind of, like, making it feel like summer. Like, I genuinely wished I was there. She did a really great job of that. So I ended up giving it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. Low key, now that I've, like, talked about it out loud, I think I want to change that rating and drop it a little bit, but definitely no lower than, like, 3 stars. Like, it's pretty decent. Another book that I read that I think is classified as a romance, if I can read correctly. Yeah. It's classified as a romance, but, like, low-key, I don't feel like it is. And this is a book that I could talk about for forever. However, if you can't see it, and if you're listening to this, then you definitely can't see it, but there is a giant cloud and potential rain happening, which means we are operating off of the singular lamp that I have in my office. So I'm not going to spend forever talking about this book, but just know I could. I actually wrote a whole book review about it on simplyjamilah.com. I will have it linked in the link that has all of the links, because this book ate her up. It is falling. It is The Favorites by Lane Fargo. And I actually texted my friend the other day because apparently there's I can't remember if it's a movie or a series, but they're adapting it. They're adapting the book. I literally was talking to my therapist earlier about how I'm over book adaptations. Like, there are tons of them happening this year, or at least coming out this year, that were announced this year. Stop it. Literally come up with an original idea. Have an original thought, please. Please have an original thought. I'm over it. And if there's not a book adaptation, there is a remake that no one asked for. I'm looking at you, Netflix, for doing a 13 going on 30 remake. Why? Why? Because the original is still good enough. It's still good enough. That pisses me. When I think about it, it pisses me off. But granted, I found out like less than 24 hours ago, so it's still fresh in my brain. And I love Emily Bader so much. I really do. She's a great actress. She's phenomenal. But I don't want to see her in 13 going on 30. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't. And I know I have free will and I don't have to see it, so I'm not going to see it. But, like, no one asked for it in the first place. Like, why are we getting a remake? That's my 2 cents on that. Anyway, the Favorites by Lane Fargo. It is about Katarina Shaw and Heath Rocha. I don't actually know how to say his last name, but it's very much so Katarina and Heath, and a lot of reviews have said it, and it actually makes so much sense, especially since I read this book, funnily enough, during the time of the Wuthering Heights movie coming out and the Winter Olympics, and that's basically this book. It very much so is Wuthering Heights coded, but with ice dancing. You can't even call it figure skating, because there's a difference between figure skating and ice dancing, I have learned. Yeah, but I like it. I like Wuthering Heights, the book. Haven't seen the movie. Don't really plan on watching the movie. When they made Jacob Elordi Heath, I was already like, we're done, because Heath is supposed to be a man of color. I'm done. So, haven't watched the movie, but I do love Wuthering Heights, the book. And I don't know, when I read that in the reviews, I was like, okay, now my attention is super, super peaked. And I definitely got Wuthering Heights, like the original one in this, but there is just something a little bit different about it. And the way it was written, I personally really like. It's basically it's written, what am I trying to say? So, like, Katarina and Heath have like this big reputation, especially Katarina. And the book starts off kind of trying to like build up a suspense, and then Katarina's like, I'm going to tell my story. And really, I loved it. I love the way that it was written like a documentary, but then I also like how we got the parallel of what actually happened. And they are characters that you can both hate and love, but I think at the end of the day, I would never hate Katarina. I don't know. I would defend her. Like, if it was time for us to go to court about, like, who is in the wrong, or, like, if it's time to send Katarina to jail or whatever, I am going to be defending Katarina for sure. I think that with the way this book was written, especially, like, her case and just the actuality of of events, like, it was just so well, and you kind of can't help but root for them. Like, yeah, she was ruthless, and she worked really hard, and I think she definitely just kind of forgot at moments that she was like in a romantic relationship. So like that part of her was turned off. But I also just admire her tenacity and her ability to like keep freaking pushing. Like, I don't know. I will defend Katarina forever and ever. My phone did turn off, but I know for a fact I gave this like 4.5 stars. The only reason I took off a star or a part of a star, I probably should have given a warning in the beginning of this video that there's spoilers. So, that's kind of awkward. But basically now I can't say why I gave it 4.5 instead of 5 stars, but something happens at the end that pissed me off so bad. It pissed me off so bad that I was like, no, get it out of here. And then in the epilogue, you find out the state of Katarina and Heath's relationship, and that also pissed me off. So then I was like, no, you're losing half a star. You're losing half a star. But I think just even for a book to have me feeling so much emotion just kind of shows how great it is. And this book had me feeling a lot of the things. And Lane Fargo ate it up. The next book that I read after that, it was I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austen Channing Brown, who is actually a Black woman. This is a super small book. It's less than 300 pages, one of the easiest reads I've ever had, and one of the easiest 5 stars I've ever given, because she talked about it all. And I think one of my favorite things that she talked about, I've read a lot of books about, being Black and just like what we experience. And a lot of what she experienced was incredibly, incredibly relatable. But one thing that really, really stuck out to me is that she is involved in the church. So she's a Black Christian. And some of the things that she experienced, yes, as a Black person, but then things that she experienced as a Christian, and then things she's experienced as a Black Christian. Those are all 3 different things that come with their own challenges, and a lot of the things that she experienced I just related to so hard, especially as a Black Christian. And a lot of people I love it, honestly, and a lot of people don't think that I'm a Christian, and it's very interesting because I think, and I've talked to someone about it, they don't think I'm a Christian because I'm accepting. And that is probably the best compliment that I feel like could ever be given, because why would I judge you? Why would I try to, I don't know, enforce my beliefs on you? That's not my prerogative. I'm good, you know? So when someone told me that, it really had me sit there thinking. And then I've talked to other people who like genuinely do not think that I'm a Christian. And someone really reiterated that it's not that I don't act like it necessarily as far as the good qualities of a Christian. It's just I'm so accepting. And that was a great thing to experience. But I am a Christian. I very much so have a couple, maybe 3 copies of the Bible for sure. And I study it and I talk to God more than once a day, especially at this point in life. Like, I very much so am a Christian. I may or may not, this might sound be crazy, but I go to church. I'm not sure about the church that I currently go to, though, if I'm being completely honest. Still figuring that out. Or maybe I'll just join like another church and be going to 2 churches at the same time. But that's a whole separate personal thing that we'll figure out at a different time. She does a really good job of writing it, and I have like no words for how much I love this book. I just cannot recommend it enough. And I genuinely hope that someone picks this book up because I recommended it and gives it a go. I can't remember where I got this. I think I got it from like Thrift Books or McKay's or something. I definitely got it secondhand and it was super inexpensive. So if you can find it secondhand, it's I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness by Austen Channing Brown. I didn't even write a book review on it because there was so much. If I wrote a book review on this book, I would just be rewriting the book. Okay, and then the next book that I read it for book club. Again, there is a story that goes with it, but that is for Jamilah to worry about. It is The Nightshades by Talia Wall. She is kind of local to North Carolina, and my student book club read it. This is book 1 of the Until Equinox series. I believe there's 3 books. I'm not going to be reading books 2 or 3. I liked the direction that this book was going and that I felt like what we were building to. I kind of liked it until I didn't. Until it kind of like fell apart, and then I was like, this definitely is not going the way that I anticipated and the way that I really had hoped. And so once we got to the end, I was like, yeah, I don't want to read the other 2. And then I read like the synopsis of, I believe, book 3. And then I was like, yeah, this definitely is not going to go the way I anticipated. But it makes you think that it's going to go in a wonderful direction. And then it just simply doesn't. So basically, this is a book about vampires and sun dwellers. Sun dwellers are humans. We're in the year 2120. So exactly 100 years after the pandemic. We have Briar, who's a sun dweller, but is kind of like obsessed. Well, not obsessed. I don't want to say obsessed, but she wants to be out at night with the vampires. Like, there's a strict curfew that limits the vampires during the day, and the sun dwellers have to be like at home at night. And there's like a specific specific time that the police come around and do a check-in to make sure that the Sun Dwellers are at home. So then we have Draven, who's a vampire, and he's like mixed up with like a bad gang of vampires, and he was once a human, a Sun Dweller, but then he like turned. However, he still like wrestles with the human part of him. Well, they end up meeting because Draven does something incredibly illegal. And Briar is worried about her brother, who was kind of at the scene of the illegal thing that happened. And Briar's brother, Sterling, is a police officer, and he's really freaking annoying. Oh my goodness, he's really freaking annoying. I was like, get me out of here, Chief. We get it. We get it, sir. You are a cop who hates. You are a representation of a specific population in America. Like, we get it. But anyways, so Briar and Draven meet, and some things happen that don't really work out in neither Briar or Draven's favor. And it almost felt like there was going to be a romance, and maybe there is a potential for a romance. I don't know. But there was some parts of it where I was like, I think I know where this is going, but it wasn't written well enough for me to tell. And it's not that, I understand not giving away the plot or the plot twist or whatever in a book, but sometimes it's like there's certain things that are said where it's like almost sounds like Draven like actually really, really likes Briar, but then it's like there's moments where he, they're like, oh, I barely know each other, and it's like I don't know, that energy, that progression of a relationship is just weird to me, to be honest. But overall, it's not like the worst book ever, and it's definitely something very, very different from me, so I'm very happy that I read it. So overall, I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then the most recent book that I read, and I still think about it, and unfortunately, it's another one that's being adapted, and God love it, I hope they do it justice, or you will see me on the news. And not for a good reason. It is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, which, oh my goodness. Okay, I just have to go on this side tangent. I read this book because I will be going to BookCon in April, and I knew Kennedy Ryan was going to be there, and so I was like so excited. I was like, yeah, like I'm going to read it. Well, my BookCon ticket, because those suckers sold out so freaking fast, I wasn't able to get one for the Saturday, so I ended up getting one for the Sunday day of the conference, and Kennedy Ryan's not even going to be there. She's going to be at the Saturday part event of BookCon, and I was like, you're kidding me. I literally was like adamant about reading this book so that way I could like tell her how much I loved it and then like get her to sign it. And I didn't know I was gonna love it when I like initially had this thought process. I was just like, I need to read this before I go. I won't even get the chance to meet her or have her sign it, but it's okay. I'm still happy that I read it because this book is so good. It is sad as heck. Oh my goodness, it's so sad. I actually, let's see, today is Wednesday. I don't know if this podcast episode is going to go up before or after the book review I'm going to write for it, because I'm definitely writing a review on it. It is one of the saddest romances I've read in a long time. And it's like one of the saddest romances that has like a happily ever after. Do you know what I mean? Like the journey to get there was depressing. And I think for me specifically, it was depressing because a lot of what they go through, I have gone through. In different ways. So like this is about Yasmin and Josiah, and they fall in love at a young age and they get married. Well, they experience some super heavy loss that sends Yasmin into a very intense deep depression, and Josiah kind of just becomes a workaholic through all of the grief. And they don't grieve not that they don't grieve properly, they just lost, I think, communication in their grief, which ends up with them getting a divorce. And so this book kind of, most of it, the first part of it is just, them meeting and falling in love and them getting married. And that's like really, that's the prologue. But then the actual story is when Yasmin finds herself again. I think it's like a year and a half, a year or so after the divorce, she finds herself again. And that's where we began. And I'm not going to really give much more away about it, but I do know like there is trigger warnings at the beginning from Kennedy Ryan about subjects in the book, and I thought that I was prepared. Baby, I was not prepared. I was not prepared at all. Not only was like the grieving part of it super intense for me because of what I experienced at the beginning of March, but also I am a child of divorced parents. I almost want to say the word consistently, but let me not put that into the universe. But I am a child of divorced parents. I have experienced and seen so much divorce in my families on both sides. Like, it's a common thing, unfortunately, for just my entire upbringing and even my life now. So, as a child of that, I truly I don't know, I understood the hardship. And like in this book, they have two kids named Deja and Kasim. And Deja is kind of like lashing out at her mom because of the divorce. I definitely did not lash out at my mom because of my parents' divorce, but I understood where she was coming from because as a child of divorced parents, like it's really, really hard. And there's them, Josiah and Yasmin try to find like relationships in other people. Like it really is just kind of them dealing with what they never dealt with when they were married and they were going through the thick of it and them healing, coming back from it. And then of course we have our happily ever after. I again love this book. I gave it 5 stars. So far this year I've given out 3 5-stars to books. Like I've had 3 5-star reads. That makes more sense. And last year, in total, I only had 2 5-star reads. So I'm already doing better than 2025 when it comes to books. And I'm very, very happy about that. I love this book. I can't wait to read the next one. The next one is Soledad's story. We meet Soledad in this book. This is a good intro to it's a trilogy. So we have Soledad, Hendrix, and Yasmin. Again, this is Yasmin's story. I have Soledad's book and I need to get Hendrix's book, but I'm waiting until I read Soledad's book. I've been doing really, really good about buying books this year. I made it all the way until like mid-March before I bought a book, and I only bought 2 books, and I got them from thrift books. So respectfully, doing fantastic. I'm currently reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. It's on my kitchen counter. I'm not going to go get it. It's actually funny because a student asked me about it earlier today. They saw it sitting on my desk, and I have thoughts about it. I've heard a lot of people, I guess, really, really liked it, and a lot of people just really, really haven't. I know by the end of me finishing it, because I only have like 80 pages left, I'm going to knock it out by tomorrow. But by the time I finish it, I'm going to give it like a 3.75 out of 5 stars, maybe a 3.5 depending on how it ends, because I understand the concept of it. And I think a lot of people liked it because of like the deep meaning to it and everything. But I just feel like execution was just a little off. I don't know how else to explain it. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is a book club book for me and my friend. And we haven't met to talk about it yet. So I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm also really excited because I shouldn't laugh. Our next book club book that we're going to read for the month of April is Haley Pham's book. And I'm very interested in seeing how that goes. And that's it. That is the Q1 wrap up. I've read 8 books. I've completed 8 books. I'm reading my 9th, which is crazy because my book goal for the year was 20. So I don't know. I'm personally very, very happy. I've talked about all of the books that I've read this year, but I do have a couple of things that I've consumed recently that I want to talk about. The first one being a movie. Me and my friend went to go watch it. It wasn't Project Hail Mary. Sorry, not gonna watch it. Not interested. I know a lot of people love it. I know it did really good in the box office. I just not interested. Not a fan. But this actually doesn't even sound better. I did go watch Reminders of Him because like it was on the cheap day at the theater, and honestly, I didn't love it. Definitely did not love it. But it was, out of the 3, it was the best Colleen Hoover movie, which was not what I was anticipating. But I think it's kind of a win for everyone who loves Colleen Hoover. Yeah, I definitely feel like it was the best movie. And truly, I think it's because of Tyreek Withers. I genuinely do. Him as a father figure with tattoos, every time he interacted with that little girl, or like when he brought Kenna flowers, the house he was trying to build that they had sex in, I mean, he made that movie for me. Like, honestly, he's probably the reason I think it was one of the best Colleen Hoover movies. And like, truly, I even texted my friend, I was like, I kind of want to watch the movie again just to watch scenes with him. Tyreek Withers ate that role up. However, it's not the best, of course. And there's definitely moments where you can feel the length of the movie. Like I was like, okay, like let's progress a little bit quicker. Like we can kind of move forward a little bit. Also, Homeboy's dad never apologized for punching Ledger, and Ledger is the name of Tyreek Withers' character, and a man punches him in the face twice and doesn't apologize for it, and I'm still pissed about that. But it's overall very decent movie, and yeah, like I said, I would watch it again for Tyreek Withers for sure. For sure. Another thing that I've consumed recently, and I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm not even going to say it actually. Let me just save myself. But it is BTS's new album. I got into BTS because my cousin liked them, and I don't know, I just wanted her to have someone to talk to about it. So I kind of got into it, and then, they disappeared, and then they came back. And I need someone to explain number 29 to me. Please explain number 29, because I texted her immediately and I was like, I thought something was wrong with my headphones. Like I had just connected my headphones to my phone and then a noise happened and then it was just like silent. And I was like, what is going on? Because I knew the album was longer than what I had been listening for. So I genuinely thought my headphones broke. And it turns out it's just number 29 on the track list. So if someone could explain that to me like I'm a kindergartner, that would be fantastic. Besides that, I do think it's a good kind of like we're back album. Yeah, that's it. I don't really have much else to contribute to the conversation. There's a couple of songs that I liked currently on my rotation is Like Animals. I can't remember the name of the other song that I liked, but if I listened to the album, I could tell you. I was so close to liking Hooligan or Hooligans. I can't remember if there's an S on there, but there's just a couple moments where it was like a little too intense, and I was like, this is a lot. Speaking of a lot, I've lost a lot of sun while recording this, so I am going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Simple Jamilah podcast. I will be in your ear in 2 weeks with a new episode. Next week I will be going out of town and I will be kind of like prepping for that, so I don't want to like prep for the trip and feel the pressure. I just said puberty and feel the pressure of like recording. So I'm just gonna kind of like take the beginning of the week to prep to go out of town. I also have a doctor's appointment, and then I'm going to fly. Hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, thank you again for listening. I'm about to go watch a seminar that explains Sinners, the movie, and I'm so excited. So let me go prep for that and get us some dinner so we can have a really good educational time. Thank you again for listening. Love you all. Bye.